This is All Access MMA.
It is so great to see my next guest. Of course, she has a lot going on in her life right now. UFC strawweight Miranda Granger, who of course gave birth to a beautiful baby girl back in August, if I remember correctly. Miranda, how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good.
Yeah, let's start there first. How is life as a mom? Because we just had actually a fellow mom fight on the weekend in Mckenzie, Dern. So I figured good time to have you on the program.
Yes, and you just had a kid too, if I'm not mistaken.
I did, yes.
Yes.
Kind of, I think a month after yours. My newborn, Kieran, was born September, second week of September. I think the 16th or something. I can't remember exactly. Probably should know that, but around the same time. So I'm going through the same
It's
stuff
all right.
you are.
I've been dealing with that too. Like we'll go to the doctors and they're like, "When's her birthday?" And I'm like, I have to remember stuff like that now. But being a mom has been literally the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life. I didn't know really like what I expected from it or what I thought was going to happen, but it's exceeded my expectations. That's for sure. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And if anyone's following you on Instagram, they can see all the photos. So that's really awesome. We'll get into the mom stuff in a sec, but I did mention it. We had a really cool main event this last weekend. Marina Rodriguez defeating Mckenzie Dern. Just your thoughts on the fight with Marina once again coming through as an underdog.
Yeah, I don't know. Before the fight, I actually told Charlie, my coach, I was like, Marina's going to win, unanimous decision. I just know it. And he's like, okay. And sure enough, that's what happened. I just think Marina's stand-up game is kind of unmatched right now. I know she's got a really good ground game too, but seeing what she did to Amanda Ribas in that last fight and Michelle Watterson, I mean, it's hard to look past that. So I knew Dern would have some troubles because, Dern's obviously one of the best on the ground in the division by far, but she has to get past the stand up in order to get to the ground game. And I kind of felt like Marina would win that battle, and she did. So
yeah, and that second round was close. I know Dern did have her on the ground there, but it just shows how good Marina is with her submission defense to get out of some of those positions, because there's a lot of fighters who have not lived to tell that tale. They've usually been submitted by armbar by Mckenzie Dern. There's a lot going on in your division as well, sort of at the top. Marina getting this big win. Whaley and Rose are going to fight. I would imagine Carla's after, but we'll see, because Carla does have a win over Rose, although it depends how that fight goes. But do you think Marina Ioane and Jacek is a good fight to make? Because that's another big name that's out there right now.
Yeah, I actually do think that's a really good fight. I think if you would have asked me a year ago, I probably would have thought Ioana, but I think Marina's kind of on a tear right now. So if they fought, I think Marina would take that too. I think she's doing so well, and she's capitalizing so well on weaknesses that a lot of fighters just don't have right now. So, I think she'll be in contention really soon.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the other reason I wanted to get you on, we have a mutual friend, Lupi Godinez, getting her first UFC win. She's looked the best I've ever seen her in that fight. And I know it was a short notice replacement, but just how happy were you to see her be so dominant getting that first round finish?
I was so happy. I mean, I know her fight got canceled her fight got changed 3 days before the fight. I was really looking forward to seeing that fight because that would have been a trilogy fight. So that would have been really fun to see, but especially in the UFC. But given that, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Lupi's such a stud. She's such a beast. I've trained with her many, many times, and she always gives me a run for my money. So I love Lupi, and I'm just happy that she was able to find some success in the UFC. So really happy for her.
Let's get back to you. I got to know, because, I sort of went through it with my wife. I mean, this is kid number 2 for us, but how does childbirth and going through all that compare to like a fight camp? Because I know it's obviously, you got to go through a lot to give birth,
Yeah. So I had a weird, kind of an interesting birth story, but the day before I had some weird numbness on my face. My whole pregnancy was relatively pretty boring. In quotes, nothing really happened. And that was good. But then, so I had some weird numbness on my face. And then I went in, my blood pressure was a little high. So I ended up having to get induced. So that whole process was really rough because we were in the hospital for a long time.
Wow. Okay.
And but then the actual labor part, I mean, I got her out in 18 minutes. So I don't know if that's the athlete in me or not, but yeah, so that was pretty good. So she came out, and that was the easy part, I guess, but the whole leading up to that part was really rough.
Yeah, and it sounds like everyone's healthy, no complications there, because that's it's not even just the child, it's also the mother as well. I know my wife that's something we were worried about, but she's all good, so glad. It seems like everything's good from what I can tell. So
Yes, everything's really good.
And how's your husband doing? It seems like he really is like embracing the fatherhood thing. It seems like he's like a
Oh
natural
yeah.
with it.
I think that he's more of a natural. I mean, obviously, like I have my like motherly instincts or whatever they call it, but Caden just like jumped right on it. He was changing diapers. He got right up. He's holding her. He's swaddling her. His mom used to own a daycare like back in the day, so he's kind of used to being around babies growing up, and he just, I mean, he's impressing me every single day, and I don't know how I would do without him. So it's been really fun. It's been really fun for both of us.
And I've seen even, leading up to the pregnancy, you were still in the gym training, like you're, in great shape and that, and all that. And it seemed like you got in relatively quickly after the birth as well. Like when did you go back to training?
So I've been working with a pregnancy coach. Her name is Miranda Battles. She works with a lot of like Olympians and professional athletes like through pregnancy and postpartum. So I've been working with her like my entire pregnancy. I was hitting mitts like a week before I was giving birth. So, but she came from California for that last week and kind of like monitored me and, was making sure that I was doing all the right stuff. And then I've been working with her postpartum too. So right now I'm just doing like her like 8-week rehab program, basically to get everything back where it needs to be before I start really training. I've been doing really, really light, footwork and mitts, but not with really any impact. So, just kind of getting myself back into a routine more than like really training. But I am definitely back in the gym pretty much every day now.
And how do you anticipate things will be going forward with, obviously, it's different when you have a kid and also you're trying to train for fights and things like that. I know you have a lot of help. Your parents are around as well, but how are you sort of navigating through that over the next little bit once you do decide to get back to fighting?
Well, I mean, the cool thing is that Caden owns his own company, so he can kind of make his own hours, so he can come into the gym too. So that's kind of what we've been doing is we'll go in and he'll hold her and take care of her while I train, and then I kind of switch. We kind of switch, and then he does his own workout and stuff too. Another thing is that like my dad comes in and my mom's always up here, and then on top of that, I mean, Charlie's been my coach since I was 4. So his wife, Amy, has also known me my whole life, and she's at the gym. So, they call themselves grandma and grandpa too. So when I bring Austin in, Amy pretty much just like, no, I'll take her, and holds her the whole time. So it's kind of like my whole family's at the gym anyway. So I don't know. I don't feel like I feel lucky that I get to bring her kind of wherever I want to bring her, and I get to do my job with her kind of watching over me the whole time. So
yeah, and they really cool. Pick up on that stuff early on. So it's cool that she's getting to experience all this sort of going forward. Is it too early yet to kind of say when you're looking at getting back in there? Do you still have to wait till this program's done and then sort of reassess? Or are you thinking, or do you have a timetable? I guess would be my question.
I think tentatively I'd like to fight by this coming summer. I think that's a good timeline for me. I don't want to miss out on anything with her. I thought initially when I got pregnant, I was like, I'll be right back. I'll be right back in it. But I kind of want to soak in all these moments with her, because no matter what, even if I have another kid, this is my only time with one kid that I really get to fully invest in this time. So I don't want to like miss out on any of that and look back and regret that. And I know like fighting's still there. So it's not like I'm never going to fight again. So I'm like, just soaking this in, getting myself where I need to be, making sure that I'm 100% ready and not going to injure myself or, jump back into something and regret jumping back in too soon.
When was the last time you spoke to the UFC? I'm sure they obviously understand because they've had to go through this with other fighters, being away and doing the mom thing, right?
Yeah. Well, USADA came the other day. That was interesting.
Oh, really?
I had like just fed her. I'm like,
yes, I do. I know it all of it. Yeah.
So she comes in and she's like, I'm so sorry I'm here. I'm like, oh God. So I'm like holding the crying baby, peeing. It was pretty entertaining actually. But yeah, it was fun. So I know that they're, I'm back in the system or whatever, but I haven't actually spoken to anyone on the UFC. They pretty much just told me to tell them when I was like ready to go.
Okay, that makes sense. And on top of that, do you know if you'll be coming back at strawweight or flyweight, or is there sort of an idea of what weight class you'd want to compete in? I imagine it would be 115.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be 115.
Okay, figured as much. Just had to ask anyways. We got a women's fight coming up here this weekend. Wanted to get your thoughts. And then I don't know if you saw, but Aspen Ladd, who missed weight a few weeks ago, is now moving up to 145 to take on Norma Dumont. Just your thoughts on that fight and Aspen fighting so soon to what looked like a pretty bad weight cut.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always been a big fan of Aspen Ladd. I mean, it sucks that she missed weight. I think she's an amazing fighter. I don't really know if there is a huge future in the 145 division, and that's not me being. I'm not trying to be like disrespectful at all. I just don't know how much
you're not alone on that, by the way. They haven't really done a good job of building it since basically Cyborg came in, right? So.
Right. So, and that's, I mean, I know there's a lot of girls outside of the UFC that fight at 145, but I just don't know right now in this time if it's a good step for her. Obviously, she had a really terrible weight cut, so that it is what it is. But I am a big fan of Aspen Ladd, and I think she's a great fighter. So I think she'll do really well.
Before I get you out of here, this is normally the part of the interview where I talk about the MTV's The Challenge, but I haven't watched it because it's all PVR. Because my wife, she was pregnant, so it was too tough with everything going on. So I still have to catch up. So we're gonna skip that. But I do want to know. I know you and Caden travel a lot. Any travel plans coming up in the next little bit with the little one?
Yes, we are actually going to Vegas in the end of October. My parents have a house in Vegas, so that'll be kind of an easy travel, a little shorter flight, and we're gonna see how she does. But we are planning to go to Hawaii in January. So, it's Caden's birthday, and it's kind of a good. He's gonna get so mad at me. I think it's the Masters or something like that.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
Tournament of Champions is in Hawaii for golf. And so he's going to go to that for his birthday or whatever, but that's why we planned it.
Cool. Okay, that's good. Well, at least you go out golfing with him. I'm trying to get my wife to do that, but we haven't gotten to that stage yet. But I'll give her some time. Yeah. We'll see what happens there as well. And just so you know, traveling with little ones right now is like the best time. Like my son, who's 4 now, we took him we had like 3 weddings to go to, one in Mexico, one in Dominican Republic, one in Ireland. We took him along. Yeah. So there's all these photos of him getting to travel, and like he doesn't even remember it, but it's cool that we can show him when he gets older. So I highly recommend the traveling thing when they're super young, because if you can get away with it, it's really good. So
yeah, I'm excited. I bought all these little like bathing suits for her. It's just so stupid, but I'm excited. I'm really excited.
Awesome. Miranda, thanks so much for doing this. I know you got a million things going on right now. Anyone you want to thank before we get out of here? Sponsors, social media, anything like that? I'll give you the last word.
Obviously, I just always want to thank my gym, Charlie's Combat Club, and I want to give a huge shout out to my pregnancy coach, Brianna Battles. She's just been so awesome through this whole thing. Pretty much given me guidance through my entire pregnancy and now postpartum. And I definitely wouldn't be, as far off as I am getting back to where I want to be without her. So I'm really excited.